Hey everyone. You know what I like about doing videos on the fly is the minute that I mic myself up and get ready to do this, I hear lawnmowers in the background, which is probably going to tell you that I'm not actually in LA, but I'm actually down in the neighborhood, the area called the Valley, and basically came to LA for one night to go and visit my old roommate from Israel. And while I was here, I was so eager to do a report and start the ball rolling on these video logs from the Makertour, the 2017 Makertour, that I thought I'd just get in his backyard and actually talk to you guys about what's been happening before I left, and also what's going to be coming up on this trip. So really quickly, first of all, I love this. Background from filmmaking, I would have never ever recorded any sound with a lawnmower in the background. If you've ever done professional audio work or anything like that, it's a nightmare. Bear with me, there's a little part of me inside that's like, start this again, but I'm actually going to go through it because I think this is a very controlled situation to what some of the things that are going to come up. It's kind of interesting, some of the things that it bounces on me. Anyway, so I want to just tell you a little bit about my week before I left. It was a bit of a hectic week, but a really productive one. I was lucky enough and actually honored enough to go and speak to a new business school called the Plato Project. The link will be down below. If you happen to be in Melbourne or Sydney, definitely check this place out. It's a business school with a really strong idea and ethic towards changing the world and why people would want to be in business, not just about making the almighty dollar. And I was asked to come in and talk about technology and humanity and what maker culture means to businesses when they're starting up. I actually recorded that whole talk, and I will be posting snippets onto my YouTube page. If you're interested in that sort of stuff, I have a whole section called presentations talking about maker culture, the work that I do, and why I believe it's really important to be able to learn these skills and be able to express yourself not just in the written word or the artistic word, but also be able to physically create your imagination in your own hands. And you'll hear that saying going on and on again many different times, because I think that is the strength of being a human being. Other species on this planet, while they bring unique things, we really do use our mind and our imagination to better the world that we live in, and that's really what I stand for in immense ways. The other thing that I wanted to tell you guys about before I left was that I got myself an XYZ Curv from the guys at, I'm going to say their names probably, 3D Tech. I want to thank those guys immensely. I actually found out that I was missing some parts out of my kit, and Ben Harper went out of his way to get me all those parts before I went overseas. My plan really was to actually have this up and running and have a report of this XYZ Curv, which is an amazing kind of router, home CNC router, and I will be using that for a lot of my projects. So I'm really super excited to get that thing built. It is most of the stuff is done. I've been recording it as I go along the way, and I'm hoping that you'll see this in a lot of projects that are coming up in the future. It's been a really fun build, I've got to be honest with you. It's after building quite a number of 3D printers and other pieces of equipment, this has been an absolute pleasure, and I was hoping to get it all done beforehand, but hey, you know, c'est la vie. Everything that will be, and it wasn't destined. But again, big shout out to the guys down at 3D Tech, and especially Ben Harper, who when I got in contact with him, just sent the parts out super fast, and it was really great. The whole experience has been fantastic, and if you happen to want to get one of these machines, I can highly recommend it. So what's coming up on this trip, right? What's going on? I mean, like Gil, you're overseas, you're traveling, you keep telling us we're going to post stuff, and a lot of people have asked me, what is it exactly you're doing? So I thought I'd just take this moment out to kind of let you know what's going on. I'm calling this the Makertour, the Gil Poznanski 2017 Makertour, and you know, people keep asking me why is this so important, why are you doing this? And it really comes down to what making is all about. See, I think that the way making is actually communicated, the way it's actually marketed, a lot of people think it's just 3D printers or people in their garage making stuff. But really, it's an inherent part of who we are. And there are so many different flavors of making out there. I thought it'd be really interesting to go and kind of establish some of the relationships I've had over the years and speak to some of these people that maybe wouldn't fall in the traditional maker category, but realizing that everything that I've been involved in, all the creative arts, is all about making. So whether or not you're an artist, you're a musician, whether you're a filmmaker, whether you're a sculptor, a painter, whether you are making traditional making stuff, as in 3D printing or sculptures or mechanical things, engineering, all of these things really come down into the same maker category. And I thought to myself, you know, I spent close to 20 years in the film industry. It'd be great to touch base with these incredibly creative people who started my own maker journey and see where they are and see what they're going to go and create. So what I'm going to do is, as I said, I had one night in Los Angeles, which thankfully I'm not as young as I used to be. I needed that night to actually bounce back and get adjusted. And I'm flying out from here to Santa Monica. That's a really small trip if I was going to Santa Monica. But I'm actually going to St. Louis, and I'm catching up with good friends of mine, Wyatt Weed and Gail Gallagher, who I met at AFM, which is the American Film Market, back in 2018. And we kept a really good relationship, communication over these years. And these guys are spectacular. They're part of a group called Pirate Pictures, along with their producer, Bob, and I forgot Bob's name right now, but I'm gonna introduce you to him when I get there and all the rest of it. But what I was going to say was, these guys are incredibly creative. They've taken kind of the independent filmmaking right to the next level. And if you haven't checked it out, or you don't know what it's about, Wyatt created an incredible fan film for his love of The Dark Knight Returns, which is the graphic novel that kind of reinvigorated the whole Batman genre. We wouldn't have had superhero films if it wasn't for this incredible graphic novel. And what he ended up doing was he took that and turned it into a half-an-hour real passion project of his, a fan film. The link's below. If you haven't checked this out, definitely check it out. It is really an homage to not only the story that was originally created, and Frank Miller, who was the author and the illustrator, did such an incredible job with reinventing the genre of Batman. The story really goes and talks about Batman as an old man. If you ever read a comic book or watch the TV show, he's usually in his 20s, late 20s. He asks the question, what would happen if Batman got old? And it's such an incredible tale that it really brought comic books and that ability to storytell in that unique way back in the 80s to the forefront. This was right at the time that like Ninja Turtles and all of those things were starting to emerge, and I think a lot of that industry had to say thank you for what Frank Miller had done. So Wyatt went and created this short film. It's incredible. It probably is what Batman vs. Superman was trying to be, but did so on a minuscule budget. And the thing that I love and why I want to talk to him about his project and let you guys know is, regardless what it is that you're creating, you don't need millions of dollars to create your image if you know how to be technical. If you know how to be technical, you can be as creative as you want to be and be able to do it, where if you were only creative and not technical at all, you would be stuck with having to hire people and therefore other people involved, which would actually stifle your creativity. So this is a really, his whole story is incredible. Go check out the film. He did everything in-house, and he did everything with the skills that he learned. Wyatt was a special effects man in Hollywood for many years, which is why we got along so well. And I'm really excited to go and discuss with him special effects, practical model making, and all the things that really do lend itself to making in general. I also want to talk to him about his methodology, the way he creates things, workflow, whether or not he'd be interested in learning a little bit more about 3D printing or maybe laser cutting, and seeing if he can adapt that into making an even more spectacular image and be able to tell his story even better. So that's where I'm going. I'm literally leaving here in a few hours. I'm jumping on a plane, a red-eye, to St. Louis. I've been told I am going straight into an audition for a music video. Not me personally, but who knows? You never know what's going to happen. I'm just really looking forward to being in that creative space again. So this is my first report from Los Angeles. Check me out in St. Louis. I'm really excited about going to St. Louis because my favorite, well, one of my all-time favorite films, Escape from New York, was actually filmed there, and I'm hoping to take some shots and maybe even speak to you about some of the areas that they shot it there. And I'm just, happy to be back in the US, connecting with my creative friends. And also, just before I go and wrap this up, I want to thank everyone who's been in touch, especially the people who invited me into their maker spaces. I've got 2 invitations so far, and if you're interested in catching up, please feel free to drop me a line, whether or not it's on Facebook at the Coach of Tony Stark, or whether or not it's here at YouTube. I would like to fit in and meet as many people as possible. And you know what? You too might be, we might do a little interview and show your space around. Because the truth of the matter is, we are stronger together than we are apart. Okay, that's it for the first report. It's Gil Poznanski signing off from Los Angeles, California, in the US for the first step of the Makertour. I'll see you guys real soon.